what we see is that for 8 long years, and they were really long, George Bush and his friends took the country into a ditch. And as President Obama says, this is the best analogy, we got elected after 8 years to get the country out of the ditch. And instead of having the help of everybody, the Republicans are standing up at the top and going, you do it, and we're not going to help. You get this, you get the car out of the ditch. And by the way, you got a couple of scratches on the fender. That to me is the best analogy. When George Bush took the keys to the Oval Office, and by the way, never should have, you know that, I objected to that whole election the second time. The first time, he shouldn't have either. That's history. We had a surplus. Democrats and Bill Clinton passed a budget that led us into a 23 million job recovery. 23 million new jobs. Oh my God, see, she's crying because she knows how much we need 23 million. When you think about it, and he took the surplus that we had and in 15 minutes turned it into a deficit. How did that happen? 2 wars on the credit card, which, by the way, my best vote of my life against the Iraq War. And 2 wars on the credit card, tax breaks to the people who absolutely didn't need it, some of whom didn't even want it, people over $1 million, and they got taxed all on the credit card. And what happened was an economy that was plugging along and moving along, and a debt that was on its way to 0. I remember saying to my husband, you know, there's not going to be any more savings bonds because we're not going to have any more debt. That's where we were on that trajectory. And we cannot forget that we brought that about. I'm the only candidate in the race, there's 3 of them and 1 of me, and that has ever voted to actually not only balance the budget, but get it into a surplus situation, get the debt down, and create 23 million jobs. That's a fact. That was when I was there with Bill Clinton. And I think it's important that we spend a minute when we have our conversations, as we talk to independent voters and Democratic voters that are threatening not to come out, and Republican voters who are open to our message, that we remember that. So when we took over, it was a horrific situation. I have a chart which I wish I had brought. I'm sorry I did not bring it. But you can see it online. It's a chart that shows the job losses when our president took over. They were, you know, the recession started in 08, 07, 08, and the job losses were getting worse and worse, and when the president took the oath of office, we were losing jobs, 700,000 a month. Think about it. 700,000 a month. We lost, directly related to this recession, the greatest recession since the Great Depression, essentially 7 million jobs. 7 million jobs. So when people say to you, my goodness, what's happening? We're now creating jobs, and yet the unemployment rate is going up. It's because those 7 million people who lost their jobs, they're starting to come back to the market, plus the regular coming of age people, some of whom are here today, who were first coming into the market. So to get those jobs back is going to take leadership. And we have that leadership with this president, because there is a way to do it. I'm going to talk about the right way to do it. One, and the best way is to pass clean energy jobs legislation. Put a price on carbon, stop global warming, and when you do it, you have the greatest results, because we will not have to keep on importing $1 billion of foreign oil every single day, which is killing us. $1 billion stayed here. If it stays here, creates about 32,000 jobs right there. $1 billion a day. going out. And we know the cost of the old energy. Do I have to tell you about what we're facing in the Gulf? I will be heading hearings on Tuesday. Do I have to remind you of what happened with these recent coal mine disasters? So I don't want your kids to have to hold their head and cry over losing our fellow citizens to these blow-ups of oil rigs, to these cave-ins of mines. It isn't necessary. We have to wean ourselves off of those old ways and get to the new ways that are clean. And I smile when I say it because I've been all over this state. And by the way, there's a move by the oil companies to repeal AB 32, to repeal the state law that has put us up front. And I need to tell you something else that you need to know. Gosh, you'll be so ready for your next cocktail party. What you need to know is, even throughout this very difficult time of loss of jobs, the one area and the one area alone where we've seen a great increase in jobs in our great state, clean energy jobs. It's the only area. And so as they move forward to try and repeal these laws, it's the worst possible thing they can do. California is the hub now of clean energy technology, and California must remain so. And it is the key to launching an economic recovery that won't limp along, but that will, yes, result in millions of jobs in the long run. And we need those jobs because of this terrible recession. It's not a normal recession. It's a recession where job loss was unbelievable. And I can tell you the world is going green. If I had more hours in the day, maybe I could see the people who come from all over the world to talk to me, because I'm chairman of the Environment Committee, want to know what we're doing here. The world is going green. The only place they don't know about it is in the United States Senate. You know, Lindsey Graham, he sees it. He knows it. We talk. He sees what I see. He knows because he's met with the Silicon Valley leaders who say, as soon as we do this, they're going to pour billions of dollars into clean technology investments. That's a stimulus that we need, because we've already done our stimulus. We need a private sector stimulus. He sees it. He's decided not to participate. He's taken his teddy bear's blanket, put his finger in his mouth, gone off in the corner because we may do immigration reform, which we have to do, don't we? Yeah. Comprehensive immigration reform. Get people out of the shadows. So we know what we have to do. We have to clean energy jobs. We have to rebuild the infrastructure, the highways, bridges, the water infrastructure. We do that, we're on our way. Those are smart investments, but the greatest thing is the investments will come from the private sector for the clean energy jobs, and from the Highway Trust Fund, which we have to renew and figure out better ways to fund, through the gas tax and other ways. So what I'm telling you is we know how to get out of this mess, but I hope the people will not turn against us because we're the firemen putting out the fire that somebody else lit, but they forgot who lit it. You know what I mean? That's really where we're at. And it's very, very difficult time. So let me just get to my race, and then and a couple of other quick things. Wall Street reform. We're doing Wall Street reform. By the way, all of my